Kodak Black was facing a long sentence, but Trump stepped in and said, "Not today." Lil Wayne, who cozied up to Trump before the 2020 election, also snagged a pardon. Desiree Perez, Roc Nation's powerhouse and Jay-Z's close ally, made the clemency list too. And let's not forget Michael Harry O. Harris, the Death Row Records co-founder, who had his decades-long sentence cut short. So why did Trump go all in for these artists? Stick around as we break down the real story behind these high-profile pardons. Kodak Black. Remember when Kodak Black read his presidential pardon letter on the internet for everyone to see?
It's the Trump. Knew that boy straight up. I appreciate you.
Kodak Black, known for his gritty lyrics and legal troubles, had been serving a nearly 4-year sentence for falsifying information on federal forms to buy firearms. It was a tough break for the rapper, whose career had been repeatedly interrupted by run-ins with the law. But just like Wayne, Kodak found an unlikely ally in the outgoing president. In the final hours of his presidency, Trump granted Kodak Black clemency, effectively cutting short his prison sentence and giving him a second chance at freedom. It was a move that sparked a lot of chatter, some praising Trump for his act of mercy, while others questioned his motives.
The President Trump and we said, we're going to be with Kodak Black. Do you have anything you want to tell him?
What made this even more interesting was how similar Kodak's situation was to Lil Wayne's. Both rappers had faced serious firearm charges, both had pled guilty, and both found themselves benefiting from Trump's surprising generosity as he left the White House. It was as if Trump had taken a particular interest in these two artists, perhaps seeing something in them that others didn't. Or maybe it was just another chapter in the unconventional legacy of his presidency. Kodak Black's legal troubles paint a much darker and more complicated picture than what a presidential pardon might suggest. His criminal record is extensive and deeply concerning, making the decision to grant him clemency all the more controversial. Let's rewind to Kodak's early days when he was just beginning to make waves in the Florida hip-hop scene. At 18 years old, Kodak, born Duson Octave in Pompano Beach, was on the cusp of fame, especially after his breakout hit Skirt got airtime on Drake's OVO Beats 1 radio station. But instead of just riding that wave to success, Kodak quickly found himself entangled in legal issues. His first arrest in the spotlight came with a laundry list of charges: assault, robbery, kidnapping, false imprisonment, driving with a suspended license, and possession of marijuana. The incident involved Kodak allegedly forcing several people into his car because he suspected someone had broken into his Broward County home. Although he was released on bond, this wasn't the end of his legal troubles. It was just the beginning. Just 2 months later, Kodak was arrested again, this time in St. Lucie County, Florida, for possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia. It seemed like he couldn't stay out of trouble, despite his rising fame.
Trespassing? I do too much. Would you like to listen or keep just randomly saying things?
Bro, look, I got no beef with you. I understand that you do a lot of for the hood.
Then, in February 2016, things took an even more disturbing turn. Kodak was accused of sexually assaulting a young woman in Florence, South Carolina after a show at a nightclub. The woman claimed that after she accompanied him to his hotel room, Kodak violently ripped off her clothes, bit her, and her. He was charged with criminal sexual misconduct, a serious charge that carried the potential for significant prison time. Kodak Black's legal troubles continued to spiral after the Florence incident, adding yet another chapter to his already lengthy rap sheet. Not long after the disturbing accusations in South Carolina, Kodak was allegedly spotted buying marijuana from a drug dealer. Instead of keeping a low profile, he made the bold move to get into his car and drive off, which caught the attention of the police. When officers tried to pull him over, Kodak didn't exactly cooperate. Instead, he attempted to evade arrest, throwing a gun out of his car in the process, at least according to the cops. The police eventually caught up with him and recovered the tossed weapon, a loaded .40 caliber Glock 23 pistol. This incident led to Kodak being hit with more charges: possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana, and several traffic violations. It seemed like every time Kodak got into trouble, the stakes got higher, and the legal drama didn't end there. According to XXL, Kodak found himself in handcuffs yet again, this time in Broward County, Florida. The arrest was tied to open warrants from earlier charges, including false imprisonment and armed robbery. It was like a bad dream that kept repeating. Every time Kodak got out of one mess, he seemed to land himself in another. Kodak Black's legal saga took an even more complicated turn while he was behind bars following his latest arrest. As he sat in jail, the full extent of his legal troubles began to unravel. Outstanding warrants for the criminal sexual misconduct case in Florence, South Carolina, and the marijuana possession charge from December 2015 were suddenly brought to light, adding to his growing list of charges. After spending 3 months in jail, Kodak finally faced sentencing in August. The court handed down a mixed bag of punishment: 1 year of house arrest, 5 years of probation, and a laundry list of programs he had to complete, including community service, anger management, enforcement and community control supervision. It seemed like Kodak was on the verge of regaining some semblance of freedom, albeit with strict conditions. But just as he was about to be placed on house arrest, yet another obstacle emerged. The open warrants from his St. Lucie County drug possession arrest halted his release, effectively keeping him behind bars. As if that wasn't enough, his situation in South Carolina took a darker turn. The charge of criminal sexual misconduct in the Florence case was escalated to sexual battery, a much more severe accusation that carried a potential penalty of up to 30 years in prison. Then September brought yet another twist in his ongoing saga. A month after being sentenced to 1 year of house arrest and 5 years of probation, Kodak pleaded no contest to the St. Lucie County drug possession case. The court handed him a 120-day prison sentence, which he served in a St. Lucie County jail. But Kodak's time in Florida was short-lived. Upon completing his sentence, he was immediately extradited to South Carolina to face the sexual battery charge that had been looming over him since the incident in Florence. As expected by his legal team, Kodak was able to secure his release from the South Carolina jail by posting a $100,000 bond. Upon his release, Kodak took to Instagram, expressing relief and optimism. He shared that he was happy to finally be going home to family and friends, and looked forward to clearing his name in the very near future.
Kodak, is it true you had marijuana and guns in the car last night?
Yo, Benz. Stop playing. My son got them racks.
However, Kodak's return to freedom was brief. After appearing in court in Broward County, he was arrested yet again, this time for violating the terms of his house arrest. The violation was linked to his earlier charges of false imprisonment from May 2016. To make matters worse, the decision to take him into custody was bolstered by an alleged incident at Club Climax in Miami, where a bartender accused Kodak of assaulting her in February. Although formal charges weren't filed, the woman identified Kodak as the man who had punched and kicked her, and the police incident report was presented in court, adding to his mounting legal woes. Kodak Black's legal troubles continued to mount between April 21st and May 4th, with a series of incidents that kept him firmly in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. On April 21st, Kodak found himself in hot water during an anger management session. The rapper was accused of grabbing his counselor by the arm after she threatened to call 911. Her threat came after Kodak refused to leave the session, reportedly disrupting it by burping repeatedly, an act that she interpreted as intentional. This incident only added to the already long list of legal woes that Kodak was dealing with at the time. Just 5 days later, on April 26th, things took another turn for the worse when Kodak was found guilty on 5 counts of violating his house arrest. The violation stemmed from his previous legal issues, which had been piling up over the years, each incident seemingly leading to more trouble.
Like when some Z when I was in feds, I was really like in a blood car. You know what I'm saying? But respect me, cause I ain't never start like talking down on my Z.
On May 4th, the court handed down yet another sentence, 364 days in prison. However, there was a silver lining. Kodak was given the possibility of early release if he completed a life skills course. Determined to get out, he successfully finished the course and was released in June after serving 97 days. For the rest of 2017, Kodak managed to steer clear of major legal issues, aside from some complications regarding child support for his son. It looked like he might finally be turning a corner, focusing on his music and staying out of the courthouse. But that all changed on January 18th, 2018. Police were alerted to a live stream on Kodak Black's Instagram feed that shocked his followers and law enforcement alike. The video showed Kodak in his Broward County home, surrounded by drugs and weapons, with his child nearby. The footage was disturbing and quickly led to another legal confrontation for the rapper, putting him right back in the crosshairs of the law. Kodak's rap sheet was long, and his repeated brushes with the law painted a troubling portrait. Despite this, when Trump issued him a pardon, it sparked a lot of debate. Many found it suspicious, given Kodak's history as a frequent offender. Why, they wondered.
Certified killer. You know how I go. You know what I'm saying? With you. Pull up to the house.
Would someone with such a concerning criminal past be granted clemency? While some argued that the pardon was a chance for Kodak to turn his life around, others saw it as a troubling precedent, one where fame and connections could seemingly overshadow a serious and repeated pattern of criminal behavior. The decision left many questioning whether justice was truly being served or if it was being influenced by factors beyond the courtroom. Kodak wasn't the only one who felt the warm glow of Trump's last-minute kindness. Enter Lil Wayne, another rapper who found himself on the receiving end of a presidential pardon that left many people doing a double take. Lil Wayne.
Mr. Carter is extremely grateful that he was among the 143 granted today.
This one was a doozy. Picture it. The final hours of Donald Trump's whirlwind presidency. Talk about drama till the very last minute. And what did he do before stepping out of the Oval Office? Nope, not just packing up those red ties and spray tan bottles. He decided to give Lil Wayne, the rap legend himself, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Yep, you heard that right. In a plot twist that could rival any reality TV show, Trump swooped in like a guardian angel and issued a presidential pardon for Lil Wayne just before the clock struck midnight on his term. Now, we all knew Weezy wasn't exactly a stranger to the courtroom. This time, though, he was in hot water over a federal firearms charge, carrying a gold-plated gun, no less. Only Lil Wayne could make even his legal troubles sound glamorous, right? But let's rewind a bit. Remember back in December 2020 when Lil Wayne made headlines? Not for a new album, but for endorsing Trump on Twitter. The two were all smiles in that infamous photo op, with Wayne looking sharp as ever in a sweater and Trump doing his usual thumbs-up pose. Some folks thought it was a strange alliance, but once the puzzle pieces fell into place, it made more sense, didn't it? Lil Wayne showed Trump some love, and Trump, in turn, gave him a lifeline. But some people still doubted the process, and recently Bosco 100 talked about it.
I didn't understand how that happened with Wayne, like, all the people on the bus, but whatever, like, you know what I mean? You would think somebody would have stepped up and say, oh, well, that's my gun. Or...
Fast forward to January 2021, and things were looking dicey for Wayne. He had pleaded guilty to the gun charge and was facing up to 10 years behind bars. Yikes. But then, in waltzed Trump with that presidential pardon, just like a plot twist you didn't see coming in your favorite binge-worthy series. Now, let's be real. Trump's pardons were the talk of the town in those final days. Everyone was wondering who'd make the cut. There were speculations, wild guesses, and even some begging, let's be honest. But Lil Wayne, well, he hit the jackpot. Some folks said that Wayne's timely endorsement of Trump may have had something to do with it, and who could argue? After all, when you posed for a photo with the POTUS and dropped a Twitter endorsement, you were bound to catch some attention. In this case, it paid off, big time. I mean, it might be a golden chance for Wayne because he had been beset by legal problems even before his prison term began, including drug possession charges in Atlanta and Arizona and a related arrest in Idaho. With that in mind, here's a look back at Weezy's complicated journey through the criminal justice system. July 22nd, 2007. What a night to remember, and not for the reasons Lil Wayne would have liked. After rocking the stage in New York City for his first headlining concert, things took a sharp turn when the rapper found himself in handcuffs. Yes, right after the applause died down, Wayne was arrested and slapped with some serious charges. 1 count of criminal weapons possession and 1 charge of criminal possession of a loaded weapon. So, here's how it all went down. The police decided to search his tour bus, claiming they caught a whiff of marijuana smoke. And what did they find? A .40 caliber gun. Prosecutors were quick to allege that Wayne had tried to hide the weapon, making matters worse for the rapper. But of course, Lil Wayne and his legal team weren't about to take this lying down. His lawyers repeatedly insisted that the gun didn't belong to him and argued that the police had no legal right to be on that bus in the first place. It was a battle of words and legal strategies from there on out. Adding to the drama, Wayne had actually complained about the heavy police presence during his performance, even venting his frustration from the stage. And as if the night couldn't get more intense, Wayne himself was searched by the authorities upon entering the venue earlier that evening. Talk about a concert with a twist. What should have been a night of celebration for Lil Wayne turned into a legal nightmare. And it all started with that fateful search on his tour bus. Fast forward to October 22nd, 2009, a date that marked a turning point in Lil Wayne's legal saga. After 2 years of courtroom drama, DNA evidence reportedly linking the .40 caliber gun to Wayne himself came to light. The evidence was strong enough to back the prosecution's claims, and with the legal noose tightening, Wayne made a tough decision. He pleaded guilty to felony gun possession. This was no small deal. By pleading guilty, Wayne was staring down the possibility of a year behind bars as part of his plea agreement. After the hearing, with cameras flashing and reporters clamoring for a statement, Wayne kept it simple and cryptic. When asked about his thoughts, all he had to say was a hello, a response that left everyone guessing. It was classic Lil Wayne, handling the pressure with a calm, almost nonchalant attitude, even as the prospect of prison loomed on the horizon. The legal battle that began with that fateful night in 2007 was finally winding down, but the consequences were far from over. Wayne's guilty plea was a major moment in his career, a reminder that even rap royalty wasn't immune to the long arm of the law. December 15th, 2009 was another pivotal day for Lil Wayne as he made his way into a New York courtroom, the weight of his upcoming fate hanging in the air. The courtroom was packed, all eyes on Wayne as he faced the reality of his situation. His sentencing date was officially set for February 9th, 2010. The anticipation was palpable. Everyone knew that come February, Wayne was expected to start serving his sentence immediately. It was a tough pill to swallow for the rapper who had dominated the charts and stages, but was now staring down the prospect of time behind bars. January 2010 was a whirlwind for Lil Wayne, as the clock ticked down to his sentencing date. With just weeks before he was set to trade the studio for a prison cell, Wayne went into overdrive, recording furiously as if he could somehow outrun time itself. It was like watching a man on a mission. He knew what was coming, and he wasn't about to let his creativity be silenced, even by the law. In those final days, Wayne laid down dozens of tracks, making sure his voice would continue to echo through the speakers while he was away. He even shot a slew of music videos, some against a green screen, so that his presence would still be felt in the music scene. It was as if Wayne was leaving behind a treasure trove of content, ensuring that his fans wouldn't forget him while he served his time. Amid this recording frenzy, Wayne finally released his long-delayed rock album, Rebirth, at the end of the month. The album was a bold departure from his usual sound, blending rap with rock elements in a way only Wayne could pull off. It was a statement, a reminder that Lil Wayne wasn't just a rapper. He was an artist who refused to be boxed in, even when the walls were closing in around him. In an article published before his sentencing, Wayne tells Rolling Stone of his jail term, "I look at things as everything is meant to be. I know it's an experience that I need to have if God's putting me through it. So I don't look at it as wrong. I damn sure don't look at it as right, that's all." In the hours before his sentencing, Wayne posts a video on Ustream saying goodbye to his fans. "I'm out this," he says. "To all my fans, my real fans, I really, really, truly love you. I love you with all of me for real." But just when everyone thought they had the story figured out, February 9th, 2010 threw a curveball that no one saw coming. Instead of heading straight to prison as expected, Lil Wayne's sentencing was unexpectedly delayed until March 2nd. And the reason? Dental work. Yes, you read that right. Lil Wayne needed to undergo some serious dental procedures, and I am not talking about a quick cleaning. At some point in February, Wayne reportedly had 8 root canals in a single day. Judge Charles Solomon, who was clearly losing patience with the whole ordeal, made it crystal clear. "I don't want this to get pushed back anymore. This is the last adjournment." The delay was meant to be just a brief pause in what seemed like an inevitable outcome, but it gave Wayne precious extra time, a gift he didn't waste. During this unexpected reprieve, Wayne was back at it again, releasing a series of videos as if he knew the world couldn't get enough of him. But here's where the story takes an intriguing twist. As the news of Wayne's delayed sentencing spread, rumors started swirling faster than Hurricane Katrina. Some folks couldn't help but wonder if there was more to this dental delay than met the eye. Could there have been some higher power at play? Perhaps someone with the influence to sway a judge's decision? And who better to fit that role than the man who seemed to have a knack for shaking up the system, Donald Trump. Now, to be clear, there was no hard evidence linking Trump to the delay, but that didn't stop the speculation. People began to whisper, could Trump have had a hand in this? Was he behind the scenes pulling strings to give Wayne more time? After all, we'd already seen how their connection played out years later. And then comes the infamous pardon that even solidified the rumors. So Lil Wayne kept his freedom and his bling, all thanks to a last-minute pardon from Trump. Desiree Perez. Donald Trump's list of last-minute presidential pardons didn't just include high-profile rappers like Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. Another name that raised eyebrows was Desiree Perez, a key figure in the music industry and a close associate of Jay-Z.
She's been pardoned.
Pardoned?
She got pardoned.
Did they give her federal protection too?
I don't think so.
Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation, had a significant criminal history stemming from a 1994 arrest involving conspiracy to distribute narcotics. She played a pivotal role in the hip-hop world, but her past had cast a long shadow over her career. Despite this, Perez built a formidable reputation in the industry, becoming an influential and respected figure. When Trump granted her a full pardon, it was seen as a significant gesture of kindness from the outgoing president. The decision sparked discussions and speculation, particularly because Perez had worked closely with some of the biggest names in the business, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, both of whom were vocal in their political stances, often against Trump. Perez's pardon was not just about erasing a criminal record. It was a symbolic move that highlighted the intricate connections between politics, power, and the entertainment industry. It showed how, in the world of presidential pardons, influence and timing could lead to surprising outcomes. President Trump granted a full pardon to Desiree Perez. The relevant section of the statement from the press secretary regarding executive grants of clemency reads, Ms. Perez was involved in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. Since her conviction, Ms. Perez has taken full accountability for her actions and has turned her life around. She has been gainfully employed and has been an advocate for criminal justice reform in her community. Gainfully employed is almost a comic understatement for the successful CEO of a billionaire's multifaceted, multi-million-dollar entertainment and sports company that oversees the careers of artists including Rihanna, Mariah Carey, Alicia Keys, Shakira, J. Cole, Big Sean, Megan Thee Stallion, and many others, along with multiple successful athletes, and programs the Super Bowl halftime show and other aspects of the NFL's entertainment. This is why it's no coincidence that last year's halftime performers were Shakira and longtime friend of rock Jennifer Lopez, and Perez's past offenses are among the less notorious in Trump's extremely long list of executive pardons and commutations. After her 1994 arrest for conspiracy with intent to distribute narcotics, Perez cooperated the U.S. Attorney's Office and received a sentence of 5 years probation. Among other offenses, she was later charged with parole violation and served 9 months in prison in 1999. I'm grateful to have received a pardon and to have formally closed that chapter of my life in the eyes of the law, Perez said in a statement. I have taken full accountability for my mistakes from 25 years ago, but I also take tremendous pride in my personal growth, perseverance, and accomplishments since then. This pardon reinforces my lifelong commitment to advocate for criminal justice reform and social justice initiatives. I feel good but a little numb, she told the New York Times separately, noting that she had applied for the pardon just 2 days before she received it. I haven't forgiven myself and I'm not sure I ever will. Perez declined Variety's request for an interview. But how did the pardon come about? Insiders speculated that Van Jones, a lawyer, author, and CNN correspondent who is represented by Roc Nation, may have helped to navigate the treacherous waters of the Trump administration, although a source close to the situation denied that Jones was involved.
Immediately after Desiree Perez receives a federal pardon, Jay-Z goes into the weed business.
It's easy to understand the assumption. While Jones doesn't publicly support the former president, he has collaborated with the administration multiple times and is reportedly close to Trump's advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He also played a role in helping Kim Kardashian secure the release of Alice Marie Johnson, who had been serving a life sentence for a non-violent drug offense. Following a meeting with Kardashian in September 2018, Trump commuted Johnson's sentence, leading to her release after 21 years in prison. But why is a pardon significant for Perez, who has already climbed to the upper echelons of the business? Insiders suggest that it ties to his global ambitions and his promotion from COO to CEO of Roc Nation in December 2019. The company is also expanding into new areas such as cannabis, with Jay-Z recently launching a brand called Monogram and Spirits. As a convicted felon, there are limitations such as the inability to run a public company, explains a source. This may have been a barrier for Roc Nation. Michael Harris. As Donald Trump's time in the Oval Office came to a close, he continued to surprise the public with a series of controversial pardons. Among them was Michael Harry O. Harris, a name that resonated deeply within the hip-hop world.
I said, man, I know Harry O, man. That's my big brother. I said, quit lying. He said, I said, go get him, tell him it's Fleetwood. So they went and got Mike.
Harris, the co-founder of the legendary Death Row Records, had spent nearly 3 decades behind bars following a 1988 conviction for attempted murder and kidnapping. Harris's story is one of both infamy and influence. Despite being imprisoned, he managed to play a pivotal role in the creation of one of the most iconic record labels in history. In 1992, from behind bars, Harris provided $1.5 million in seed money to Suge Knight, helping to launch Death Row Records. The label became a powerhouse in the music industry, propelling the careers of some of the most influential rappers of the time, including Dr. Dre, Tupac Shakur, and Snoop Dogg. Trump's decision to pardon Harris was another example of his tendency to mix the worlds of politics, celebrity, and legal mercy. The pardon not only granted Harris his freedom, but also highlighted the complex and sometimes unexpected intersections between criminal justice and the music industry. For Harris, the pardon was a long-awaited relief, ending decades of imprisonment and opening the door for him to re-enter society. For the hip-hop community, it was a moment of reflection on the enduring impact of Death Row Records and the complicated legacy of those who helped build it. People like Snoop and Alice Johnson, a criminal justice activist who had herself been granted clemency by Trump in 2018, also voiced her support for Harris. She told the Daily Beast that she had spoken to the president about the case, emphasizing how much it meant to her. Johnson, who had become a prominent advocate for criminal justice reform after her own release, described Harris's situation as deeply unfair. He should have been home a decade ago, she said, highlighting the injustice of his prolonged imprisonment. The combined efforts of Snoop Dogg and Alice Johnson, along with the backing of other influential figures, ultimately paid off. On one of his final days in office, Trump granted Harris a full pardon, allowing the man who had helped shape the hip-hop landscape from behind bars to finally walk free. And there you have it. 4 stories that make you wonder if there's more than meets the eye. Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, Desiree Perez, and Michael Harry O. Harris, 4 figures from the world of hip-hop and beyond, all granted clemency by Donald Trump in his final hours in office. But is it just coincidence that Trump's final acts of clemency went to such high-profile black rappers and industry insiders? Some might say it's all about second chances and redemption. Could it be that these pardons were more than just acts of mercy? Were they part of a calculated move to curry favor, to leverage relationships, or perhaps to bolster bolster Trump's image among certain communities? Maybe we'll find out soon enough. But if you'd like to know more about the secrets they're not telling us, click this video on your screen and I'll see you there.